Did you guys know that you're actually at your most powerful when you're not even trying? Imagine manifesting your dream relationship or a successful business or even healing for yourself or for family members, all whilst you're washing the dishes, taking a shower, or perhaps walking to work. I know, it sounds crazy, but this is exactly how I manifested my dream partner, Joseph, as all of you know. This is how I manifested my business, and even something as strange as my recent manifestation of a mole that just fell off, and that was on my chest. And like I say, I can show you guys the pictures, but it's kind of gross. Something that, if anything, was just getting bigger and seemed to be getting worse and in the way. I wasn't affirming all day. I wasn't burnt out. I wasn't long-term meditating on it. This was all done very passively, very easily. And this is why I want to share it with you guys, because it's a technique that works effortlessly, because it taps into your mind when it's at its most impressionable. And as someone who studied hypnosis and language patterns on the mind, you know that I'm all about grabbing the subconscious mind at its most impressionable point, so that I don't have to keep on doing techniques all the time. I'm really quite lazy. You guys know this when it comes to manifesting. So I wanted to share it all with you. I'll share my results. I also got Joseph to test it as well, and he's had some success with it too, although of course he's got his own methods and ways. But I wanted to test it out on others to see how it works for them, and it's been proving really, really popular. And I call this method the passive imagination technique. So are you intrigued to know more? Grab yourself a seat, get yourself a hot drink if you haven't done so already, because we're in that autumnal season. Wherever you might be in the world, maybe you're just coming towards spring now for some of you, but we're heading into the winter months. So grab yourself a hot drink, spend some time with me, because this is going to go into quite a bit of detail, and then I'm going to give you step-by-step very clear instructions, because I always try and break everything down really clearly for you guys. As you know, I'm all about simplicity in this world. Okay, so stay with me. Okay, so this method, it's the P.I.T method for short, so passive imagination technique, and it's a manifestation method that's designed to just fit into your life seamlessly. You don't have to find extra time to do it. You don't have to really hyper focus or cause yourself any mental strain. And here's the idea. Every day in your life, naturally, there are moments when your conscious mind just kind of zones out. We all get there, right? Like when you're showering, for example, when you're driving a familiar route that you might do over and over again every day, when you're washing the dishes, whatever task that you engage in daily, these autopilot moments, it's not just downtime for your mind to just wander and do its own thing. It's actually an opportunity for some fantastic impression. Why is that? Because when your mind relaxes during these repetitive tasks, your subconscious mind becomes much more accessible. And this is scientifically backed by neuroscience, which calls it the default mode network. So it's DMN. And this activates when your brain is at rest or when it's daydreaming. This is the gateway to your creative mind, where your imagination has the power to rewrite your reality during this time. So the default mode network, it's a natural state that your brain enters during moments of rest or repetitive tasks. So like when showering, walking, driving, it's the brain's autopilot mode, and it's responsible for daydreaming, for self-reflection, creative problem solving. And what makes the DMN so powerful for manifestation is that when your conscious mind relaxes, your subconscious mind becomes more accessible. Remember what I said about your conscious mind being the bouncer at the nightclub, and your subconscious mind is the VIP nightclub you're trying to get into. So your conscious mind is busy on a task. It taps out, the bouncer steps aside, and that's a brilliant, perfect time for impression. So in this state, your brainwaves shift into a slower, more suggestible pattern, similar to a light hypnosis, and it's allowing new ideas and beliefs to be impressed deeply and effortlessly. So the DMN, it also helps your brain simulate experiences, meaning that when you imagine your desire is already fulfilled, your mind will just process it like it's real, and it's reinforcing emotional and neurological pathways that align with your wish. The good thing about this state as well is that it bypasses resistance, our favorite thing to bypass, and something a lot of us come across, particularly those of us with severe anxieties. And when you're trying to integrate new beliefs, you often come up with a lot of resistance. And that's why people who perhaps are trying to affirm all the time, especially if you've got these mental health conditions, it's not healthy to, because you're always bashing against that resistance. We don't want to resist. We just want to do this in an effortless way. So this is a really good way to integrate new beliefs and open the door to creativity and intuition. So by engaging your imagination during these moments when you're in autopilot, you're essentially rewiring your subconscious to reflect the reality that you desire without the need for effort or extended focus. It's basically manifestation made simple, stress-free, and backed by neuroscience, thank goodness. So I want to just tell you a quick story about how I sort of stumbled upon this method. It's something actually that I've done always. I think it's something that all of us do always. Many of us would have adapted methods that we didn't even know that we were adapting. It's like it's something that's automatically built into us. So I'll just tell you a quick story about how, and a lot of you are already aware of this, because I've been doing this for the longest time, as you know. And I never really thought of it as a technique because it's so passive, because it's so natural for me. But years ago, when I was washing the dishes, and you guys know, I was listening to Neville Goddard, just tapping out in my own inner world, and Joseph Alai's video pops up at that moment. And I see him. I think he's cute, and listening to what he has to say. We have very similar ideas. And so I found myself impressing my subconscious mind in that moment, starting to imagine him, starting to let my mind wander about what it would feel like to get to know him, to be with him, to have him attracted to me and me attracted to him, and to be together. And it was such a fun, light-hearted, imaginal act. There wasn't any force. It was kind of like a daydream that I was really engaging in, but more than just a passive daydream in a way, more of I wonder what it would be like with an intention to feel it real, to really step into that state. And I only did this a handful of times. Each time Joseph's video would pop up, because you know what it's like on YouTube, video pops up, and the next thing you're seeing more and more of that person's video. So his was coming up at the time quite a lot. And I would occasionally, again, impress myself with it. But like I say, only a handful of times I did it. I don't even remember if I did it more like after that day, or if I had a couple of daydreams afterwards. But whatever, it just felt very natural. It felt good in the moment. And then I just dropped it and I got on with my life. And the impression was made very, very fast. Because like I said, I wasn't concerned with any of the obstacles. I was very sort of focused on just feeling it out. Didn't really care that he was all the way in America. Didn't care about the fact that he didn't even know of my existence. Didn't care if he was in a relationship. I just gave myself that experience because I could. And why not? Because it felt good. And then, of course, we fast forward to about 4 or 5 years later, and Joseph is now in my life, living together. We're having a beautiful relationship, nearly celebrating our 1-year anniversary as well. Time flies. But you see how easily these things can occur, how easily the mind can be impressed, even with your biggest desires. I've also used the same method to manifest my thriving business, like I mentioned before. My friend as well, who some of you who have watched my content, she actually had messaged me whilst I was recording one of my videos, her recovery from breast cancer. Again, I did that whilst I was in the shower as well, and hearing her giving me the good news. The mole on my chest, like I say, but I've done all sorts of things with this as well, and it's so simple and it's so flexible, and it feels almost too easy. And you guys are going to say to me it's too easy, but that's the point of it. It's a passive imagination technique. It is proving to you that manifestation doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be something you're hyper focused on. Techniques all the time, all the way through. You don't have to allocate hours on end to meditate or anything like that. So don't worry, bear with me, because we're going to get to the step by step, but it's important that we have a bit of an understanding as to why we do this. And on this channel, especially now, I want to focus more on the science behind things, particularly on the neuroscience, because I've realized that for us logic thinkers, it can be quite a difficult thing to understand how this works, why this works. We need to understand why we're doing the techniques, okay? If you guys are just looking for quick hacks and quick techniques here and there, and what other technique fix you can get, you don't really know why you're doing it. You're going to get yourself burnt out. You're going to get yourself stressed. This is why so many people are starting to complain in it and wondering, when is it going to happen? Why hasn't it happened yet? Because you're not understanding why you're even doing the techniques. So if you're serious about learning, that's why you're on this channel. That's why you're subscribed to this channel, because you're serious about learning and getting success. And like I said, all of you will, but just bear with me, be patient, right? So understand this. Your brain is operating in different states throughout the day. It never stays in one state. Throughout the day, it is changing. So when you're busy with a repetitive task, your brain waves naturally slow down into this relaxed state, this light trance, light hypnosis. And this state allows your subconscious mind to become more receptive to the impressions, like I said. And at that point, that's when you can do a visual imagery, you can do an internal conversation, you can do something that is actually quite symbolic. It doesn't even have to be a formal scene or anything like that. This is how varied it can be. Dr. Joe Dispenza, who some of you have heard about, he talks about accessing the theta brainwave state during meditations for healing and manifestation with this method. We tap into the same concept as well in my technique, but instead of needing a dedicated meditation session like he might allocate in his teachings, you just simply use the autopilot during your daily routine, because the subconscious doesn't actually care when it's impressed. It just responds to what you're consistently feeding it, and that's where the magic of this technique lays. So I'm going to go into the step-by-step. Actually, I don't know if, Joey, I don't know if you wanted to share, because I forgot, actually. I should get him to share as well what happened with him, because that was you. I was just talking about this passive method, and I wondered if you wanted to share quickly. Did you want to share?
No, sweetheart. Oh, yeah, let's see. Right, so for a while, after coming here, I'd taken a long break off of YouTube and a long break off of just working in general on certain things, and I was having trouble. I essentially had a block in my mind with creating new stuff, and as a lot of you might know, I'm a software engineer, and a lot of what I love to do involves creating applications, and for a long time I was running the VIP program that involved me coding a lot, but in this case I was stuck for quite a long time. So usually, on my channel I talk a lot about really carefully constructing imaginal acts, and in this I've been very successful, because in doing so I've been able to create a lot of awesome stuff, but for a long time I was effectively unable to even think of things to manifest, and was having trouble imagining things in the first place. And so talking with Athena, and I remember this is when we went for a walk, and initially I told her the issue that was going on with me, and she was telling me that, how she imagines, and for me it didn't resonate initially, but then when we got to the house, and then she was essentially giving me some instructions, which is to what I ended up doing was, and the intention was to be able to have some sort of project or inspiration or something to drive me, because that's what I find most interest in. And so I did end up going into the shower, and initially in my mind, I just relaxed for a moment, and then internally I thought to myself that I was just really grateful that I had my inspiration. And I relaxed again, as you do in the shower, just automatically zoned out, and then it was instant, as if it was a movie that was played in my imagination, in my third eye, whatever you want to call it, my inner eye. And it was the Neville bot. And I saw it as if I was looking at a profile in a chat. And it was Neville Goddard AI. And then I saw the development. It was like a movie. It was beyond my control, and it just appeared directly in front of me, the complete answer. And I've talked about this happening in my channel once before, when I was stuck in a math equation for my final exam on Calculus 2, and I completely, gave up, and the answer came fully, like as if I had written it on a piece of paper, not even understanding how, just the full answer appeared before me, and this was exactly that. But it was I did it then on accident, and this was on purpose, basically doing exactly what Athena said, and the answer just shot before me, and it played out as if I was looking into the future and watching exactly how this bot would be created and the final result. And that's what led to the inspiration of how we created the Neville bot. And even exact details were given to me in the shower, and the exact stuff I've implemented today, and people are manifesting exactly, even the degree to how it sharpens its manifestation techniques based upon what people give it as what worked for them, and how it sharpens what it gives people and gives people exact answers so that people are manifesting. Now it's like crazy, but that was all in the shower, and that was all due exactly to what you said. And because keep in mind, before I was desperately lost. I was unable to come up with anything. I was like, really, I was very anxious, because for me, someone who's manifesting for so long, and to be stuck like that, and then just to go in and get the answer was like amazing. So anyway, that's it. Thanks, honey.
You're welcome. Thank you, darling. Thank you for sharing. So there you have it. I almost forgot, because I wanted to also, I was asking him as well to utilize it now. And I've been utilizing his list method and his bullet method, various other things as well. So we do that. We like to mix and match and to test these things out. So you can see like how passively you can do this. So are you ready? Are you ready? You've heard about it working. You've heard about the kind of things you can manifest. You've heard about the science behind it and why this is so effective. So especially those of us with mental health issues as well, or who just have busy lives and we don't have the time to dedicate. So here we go. Step number 1. It's going to be to choose a time when your mind very naturally relaxes. So for me especially, it's in the shower. Something that I do every day. Don't even think about it anymore. Shower and washing dishes seem to be the regular things for me that I do over and over. When the weather is decent, which it hasn't been for a while, I would do it a lot whilst I was walking, because I'd be walking Coco and I'd be walking the same route. But for you guys, whenever your autopilot session is, something that you do on a regular basis that you know for sure, you just tap out. So that's step number 1, picking your time. And then step number 2 is going to be to decide what you want to manifest. And then I want you to ask yourself, just passively, what would it feel like if it was true? I want this, but what would it feel like if I had this? Or I wonder what it would be like to live in that beautiful house. I wonder what it'd be like to own a successful business earning 6-figure salary. What would it be like to have everything just work out for me? You could be specific, or you could be quite general with it. In fact, I would recommend in the interim as well to test this out with smaller things, just to get a feel for it, to start to see it working for you and build up your sense of confidence as well. Find your flow with it. Step number 3, allow the answer to unfold naturally. So for some of you, I often find, because I don't always get to imagine clearly. I don't always see a picture in my head. So, we have our off days, right? So there's just days where I literally can't see anything. Some days it's clear, like Joseph had a really, really clear vision, he was telling me. He's got a really powerful imagination. So for him, it was a clear vision with the Neville bot. For myself, like for example with my mole, I could see that and I could feel it. I could feel that, like it was like I was kind of picking it off and giving it away. With my friend's breast cancer, it was an imaginal conversation that was coming to me where I heard her giving me the good news. I could hear her voice telling me that she was clear. So it doesn't matter if it's an inner conversation that comes to you naturally, if it's a vision, perhaps it's just a feeling, maybe it's something quite symbolic. Sometimes, especially for those of us with, say, like depression or anxiety, just heavy emotions, sometimes I would do quite a symbolic scene with it, where underneath the water I would feel perhaps this golden kind of energy coming out of the shower, the warmth and the fragrances and the steam. I would get myself immersed in that, and I would feel this golden energy just wash over me. And say if the depression, for example, felt like a dark energy, then I would see this darkness just kind of like washing out into the drain. And I would just feel myself emotionally lighter from that. So you can be symbolic with it as well. But the key is to always feel your wish fulfilled. Even if it's just for a few seconds, it doesn't matter. But as soon as you capture that feeling, that's it. That's it. That's done. Okay. And you can accept it as done as well. So once you're done, once you've done that, once you've captured the feeling, you can do it again if you want to. There's no wrong or right. Please don't be rigid with this. Be playful with it. Okay. But you're just feeling it out. Then when it's done, okay, as soon as I turn that shower off, as soon as I'm done washing the dishes, I'm done. That's it. That's the next step. You're done. Drop it. Don't obsess over the outcome. Don't try to force anything. Just trust that your subconscious has received the message and the rest of the work is going to be done for you. There's literally nothing else you need to do. I dropped it after I did the Imaginal Act with Joseph, didn't think about it again, just carried on my sweet life and my sweet way. Same with the mole, same with other things. You might have things occur in the 3D, you might react, like with my mole, it started to change, it started to look a bit dodgy, I had to go to the doctors, I was freaking out, and they wouldn't do anything about it, you know, so you'll have things occur in your reality, but again, don't worry about it, don't judge yourself too much, don't judge the 3D too much, you always stay true to what you did in your imaginal acts, in the shower, whilst you're washing, whilst you're in the car, whilst you're walking, wherever you did it, and trust that because these are events that you do each day quite naturally, you can revisit this scene or this feeling anytime and just let it evolve naturally. That's the beauty of this method, is that it's so flexible. There's no strict rules. Use it as often or as little as you like. You could do it once, forget about it, and then the next day when you shower, maybe you'll have a different desire or a different scene that you want to do. I get that sometimes as well. I flit between, because I just do whatever's fun, do whatever's natural. Because some people are really worrying that they're perhaps doing it wrong. Are they fooling themselves with all of this? But here's the truth, you're never doing it wrong as long as it feels good and natural. And if you have doubts arising, try not to fight it, but just use it as a feedback. Because some of you are going to have doubts and other things arising too, and that's okay. That's going to be an indicator to some deeper beliefs that you have and deeper resistances that, okay, now my attention has been brought to those deeper resistances. This is something that I need to tend to. This is something I need to change. So it gives me guidance on what I need to work on. So this method actually works really beautifully for people with ADHD, with chronic anxiety, those who suffer with rigid techniques, repetitive techniques, those with OCD that are told to affirm all day, which is just making their OCD worse, making you obsess, making you stuck. This technique is for you. And even if you can capture the feeling just for a brief moment, it's enough. It's enough. You've done it, right? That's okay. It's enough. Even if it's a few seconds, you've done it. Congratulations. It's enough. Don't give yourself a hard time about it. So feel free to try this out. And I'm going to set you guys a challenge as well, because this is what I want going forward. This is what I want to try and build with the community. Start to test this out with things that might be simple, like I said. Perhaps you're manifesting what it would feel like to receive a free gift or a free meal, or maybe someone giving you a specific compliment, or perhaps you're just feeling yourself into a symbolic feeling of being more confident or being more attractive or feeling youthful. I do that sometimes with feeling youthful as well. I feel like the water is just washing. It's like the fountain of youth sort of thing. You know, I'm 43 now, so you know, it's like I want to feel and look younger and more vibrant. So you can do it with obscure symbolic scenes, like I say. And even if you're suffering with depression and things like that, do it again. Be symbolic with it too. Capture a feeling of what that would be like to feel good, just because you can, just because you choose to do so. And do this during always your autopilot methods. Don't try to do it any other time. Please don't try to force it. This is about flow. This is about fun. Remember what I said about fun and how that reduces resistance if we have a playful attitude with all of this. And then I want you to come back and I want you to share your results in the comments, either this video or my videos going forward. And I'm going to know who's paying attention, who's destined for success. You're going to start building it up. You're going to start impressing yourself with your biggest desires. You're going to be coming back to me with your incredible success stories. Let's make this fun, okay? And I'll be reading and responding to your stories because this technique works. And I want you all to experience the proof for yourself. I've also been sharing this method with the Discord community, and those are my weekly coaching sessions as well. And we're going to work it in together. And those people who've got resistances, we're going to work through the resistances together as well. So you don't have to be alone in this. Come and join us. Come and speak to Neville. Come and speak to myself or Joseph. But I want to make this fun and playful and accessible for all, because you were born to do this, guys. It doesn't have to be insane techniques all the time, stressing yourself out, exacerbating mental health issues, as you know, okay? This is the passive imagination technique. It's the lazy manifestor's dream. This is why I do it, lazy manifesting. So if you enjoyed this, if you found this useful, please do like and subscribe. Thank you all for joining me. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.